Hey, this is Justin Case from American Newscape, joining our friend and media personality Jerry Maldonado, back for another installment of American Mentoring. Hello, Jerry. Welcome back to American Newscape.
It's Monday, huh? I forgot. Yeah, it's Monday again. We're not on Wednesday now, man. So it's a short week for you and I,
Yeah, it's a short week. It's a short week.
huh?
Well,
Absolutely, man. I'm so glad to be here.
hey, for our audience that doesn't realize it, I consider Jerry a journaling, I'll probably botch this word up, professionado, consummate
No,
journaler.
no,
Consummate
no.
journaler.
Journaling freak, man. I'm a journaling freak. I'm obsessed with this stuff. But yeah, but you put it so eloquently. Thank you very much. But I'm proud to be a freak. It's awesome.
Yeah, journaling meatballs are us. So,
Yes, yes.
Jerry, lead us to the promised land of journaling and try and convince me why I need to be journaling.
Well, you answered that question last week after the after show. We have an after show here on America's Mentor Radio where Kurt and I kind of talk about the show. And you mentioned last week um, a part of the show where you said you have a to do list every day,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And that's basically journaling. It's your to do list of life. People, and this is it changed my life many moons ago. I'll try to get to the point here because this can kind of go on forever. People don't plan to fail; they just fail to plan. And what I was doing for many, this started about 15 years ago in my demise that you and I were kind of separated when I was going in between the families and this and that. One of my coworkers back then, I was working like three jobs, working for a pittance. She hands me this leather bound journal for Christmas. And I didn't even have a Christmas tree. And they bought me this little tree, man. It was great. And that started the whole process of me understanding who I was. And journaling is a can be used for that. I used it more therapeutic because I was going through issues back then. But journaling is basically your to-do list of life. The sad scenario is 30%, only 20% of people actually set goals. 3% actually set life goals, man, where they got a plan for life. Journaling is just your goals with legs, if that's a good way to put it. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. It does. Well, give us, okay, now that you've kind of given us a brief overview, what does a typical Jerry Maldonado journal experience look like to you?
This is, like I said, I'm a freak, man. I love to write. Obviously, you can see my wall. This is all my quotes. I love to do this. This is not cut out for people who don't like to write, but what's cut out for them in journaling, they can do in meditation or they can walk in the woods. And it's the same way. It's just putting your thoughts in a direction where you want to go. And that's all it is. And the daily, how should we say, morning for me is the first thing I do when I get up is I'll grab the Java and a book and I start I go on for like sometimes an hour, man, because that's who I am. That's what I like to do. It's brought me everything around me and then some. And I can tell you examples about that later, but it's basically you giving your life goals legs to move. Or you can use it as a thankful, as a gratitude manual. I use a page, like a page for gratitude, a page for goals, a page for what I want to do. It's just who I am, but people can do it in 10 minutes a day and give themselves direction. Journaling is hard to explain because people don't understand that they're creating from nothing, if that's a way of putting it. When you start adding pen to paper, you're putting thoughts in the physical form. And when I learned that on a scientific level, that's when everything started to change because I said, wait a minute, I'm writing about what happened to me. Why don't I write about what I can make happen for me? And that's a powerful aspect. And people do it all day long, but their to do list, they're focusing on what they have to do. Me, I said, wait, I already know what I have to do, man. I'm going to focus on what I want to attain, what I want to be, what I want to have. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And, you said something that sparked a thought, and you talked about assembling thoughts. And we all need to, not only have thoughts, but assemble them, organize them. And if you have the capacity to
Yes.
keep that in your mind, that's a wonderful gift that you have. But if you don't like to write, why couldn't I assemble my thoughts on a tape recorder?
Indeed, indeed, and you bring up a great point. Assembling thought. You always bring up great points, man. You always bring up great points. I love this, man. This is awesome. The fact that you're concreting a thought, your focus, which is the biggest thing people forget. It's that direction of focus of whatever you're trying to do. We already do it. We're just doing it for the things that usually we don't want to do or have to do. What journaling is that predominant focus on what you want to create in your life, whether it's peace of mind, this, that, whatever it might be. I did it on a material sense, on a peace sense, on a mental sense, on a life sense. I went full born into it. Even wrote a book about it because to me, it changed everything. It changed where I was to where I wanted to go. And it was amazing how this process works. It's a diligent process indeed. And I wonder, you wonder why only 20% of people now set goals, where I think back in the 90s it was like 50%. So you brought up a great point. It's all the distractions of life, and journaling grounds you to a point where you can actually think for yourself and create for yourself. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And, even with my note taking, it's a refer back. I'll have notes for tomorrow, and then at the end of tomorrow, I will refer back to those notes and, try and determine why I did not accomplish some of the things that were on the to do list. And guess what? They
Mhm.
immediately go on the top of tomorrow's notes.
Yeah, it's a goal. It's your goal, and this is what we were. This is what drove me knucking futs when I was trying to do this stuff, learning about it. They're saying you got to put time limits on this stuff, and you got to do all this. No, don't put time limits on things you want to attain. Whether it's, I understand certain things that you have to do, or obligations. There you go, if that's a better word. But don't put time limits on things that take time. And this is what people seem to forget. If they're trying to attain something, they have to be that something to attain that something. In other words, inside before it comes on the outside. And journaling just helps you express that with your thoughts and your feelings. Don't use it as this mental banter against yourself, man. I did that. Sadly, I was wondering why I kept creating more of that mental banter in my life, because you're in that focus. You're focusing on the down. You're focusing on what life hasn't given you when you can dictate your life. You're in the field now of the Einsteins and the Jennifer Anistons, the Oprah Winfrey's, all these super successful people. There's hundreds of them that do this every day, and I don't want to be that. I want to be myself the way I want to be. They wanted to have different outcomes in life, like we all do. But the PowerPoint presentation of life every day is you putting pen to paper, if that suits you, or a walk in the woods, if that suits you, or a to-do list, if that's, but make sure you take care of yourself is the main point here. People are too busy out there trying to take care of everything else when they forget about themselves. You get it?
I do get it. I do get it. And, that should be one of our highest priorities is taking care of ourselves.
We totally forgot about that. Men especially. I'm not saying women are no. Men, but we like to take care of our families, and then I spent 20 years raising my kids. Giving everything to them. Meanwhile, I was feeling empty, not feel like that I was attaining anything that I really wanted to grasp hold. And it's not a selfish thing. Selfish is not how you live. It's telling others how to live. And we seem to have forgotten about ourselves in this life of demanding now. And journaling has brought me back to earth in so many ways, and I manifested so many things, man. It's absolutely amazing from it.
Well, and then the other, I don't want to get on the bandwagon of pointing out some of the faults that men have, but, we are masters of denial.
Yes, yes. Men are providers. We love to, and we're also ignorant as hell.
Yes.
we
Well,
just, we just don't.
I
We
tried to
don't listen.
I tried to put it better
We,
than that, but yeah,
we don't listen, man. We got Alexa telling us what to do. We're like, no, I can do it better. But it's like the GPS that we're not listening to. You know what I mean? I always wanted to create a GPS with like Mr. T. And, this there's somebody really masculine telling me, "Shut up, fool! You're going the wrong way." But yeah, we have that. But that's just us, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but we live and learn. You and I are prime examples of living and learning, and falling down 7 times, getting back up 8, and keep getting. It's just who we are. But journaling brings out that self that few people know about themselves. the inner self, the Einstein. You know, Einstein used to lay on a hillside and watch the sky all day and really imagine. You lose that focus in today's world. We're full of distractions everywhere we go. I get it. That's why if you can create a half an hour of your time every day of just concentrating on what you want to bring in the most beautiful ways and dictate that however you do affirmations, incantations, perspiration, I don't know, whatever you guys want to do. But as long as you put a direct focus on it, however it is, that's just like journaling. It's the same way.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it
Yeah,
really does make sense. It's I've
yeah,
never.
I've created so many. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's just, I have such, I don't understand, but I certainly respect people that are dedicated to meditation and
Hmm.
actually accomplish things from it.
Yeah,
I
the
have,
same thing. It's just a different form of journaling, Justin. It's a different form of journaling. You know, like I mentioned and you mentioned before, certain people need certain things to do. With me, journaling is my forte. I love it. I love expressing out to my life now, what I want to create, whether it's peace of mind, good health, whatever it might be, and everything is transcended into that. Some people go into transcendental meditation. They really go all out, man, like the Jim Carreys and the philosophers like that, and actors and everything else. I'm not into that. I'm into right now what I want to have, be, and do and share. And it's a great format or a starting point because a lot of people write goals, they stick them on a fridge or whatever it might be. That's just sitting energy. Whereas you're journaling, you're creating legs with that energy. Does that make sense?
no, it does. It does. It actually, it really does. So, once upon a time, somewhere in a journal, you wrote, I need to write a book on journaling.
Yeah, yeah. I need to write a book on journey. You know, it's funny because this is. I love this part, man. You got to grab some popcorn for this, man. This is great. It Everything that I've journaled continuously, I brought to me. I mean, in the most beautiful ways, but in weird ways. Like the book that you mentioned about journaling. Me myself when I can is 7 pages of the science behind it, and there's 365 empty pages for you to write for yourself on there. So, but getting to that wasn't even really a goal. It just I liked what I was doing so much as I just put it down on paper. But on a physical plane of what I manifested from that was just desires. I asked for everything, man. A new car, yeah, got that same thing. The place that I wanted to live in a different state, I didn't get the different state, but I got the same home in what I wanted to get. Does that make sense?
Well, if it makes sense to you, it doesn't matter if it makes sense to me.
But no, it's exciting. It's
Right.
exciting because I always wanted to give my kids a library. So write down, I want to give my kids a library for wisdom. I don't got a library, but I got a video library of 360 videos and growing every day. So the universe is gonna present to you, whatever it does. It's gonna be something similar to what you're trying to do. It may not be exact, but the old way of goal setting and putting it on the wall and looking at it every day, that's just wasted energy. Journaling is you just putting pen to paper, power of mind to where you want to go. And if meditating works, go for it. Walking, go for it. To-do list, go for it. Add on a goal every day. Say, look, at 11 o'clock, I'm going to set my phone every half hour to think about my goal. There you go. And however anybody does it, they do it. And I'm really open to the way people do things because we're all not the same, man. That's why we all have our own DNA. We all do things different. But journaling on a personal aspect for me has basically changed everything from the physicality, mentality, everything about me in life. And some people like it, some people don't. But if you got 10 minutes a day, go for it. It's something to grasp onto.
Well, even 5 minutes a day.
Oh God, yeah,
Just
yeah,
even
yeah.
a thought of
Like
the day. Even one thought of the day.
yeah, that actually started too when I used to write the quotes. That was my journaling. I would write a quote a day. You know what I mean? And now I got a couple of thousand of them sitting behind me. But at the same time, that's just who I am. But I don't want anybody to follow who I am. I want them to follow who they are. We've spent all our lives following everybody else in so many ways. We've been taught that way. You gotta model this person. No, no, meatball. You gotta do it yourself, man. You gotta get out there and dictate who you want to be. And I guarantee you, as Buddha said, what you think we become. is what happens in your life. And how would he know a couple of thousand years ago, man? This is what amazes me. The guys and the notables back then knew all this stuff. They know all about neuroscience, metaphysics, quantum
Well,
physics on a mastery level.
well, we don't know what Einstein may have been smoking on the hill as he watched the clouds, and we may not know how much opium Buddha was doing when he was laying on the hill watching the clouds. But
And only you would come up with that. You gotta, I love it. I like, hey, whatever helps, man. If you want to drink a cup of coffee, like Jackson in the morning, whatever helps, man. But indeed, I've always been astounded by wise minds and what they did. That was my modeling per se, not what they did, but how they did it, and just creating my own unique way of doing it. And we all have our own unique way. We're not, people think goal setting is like this boilerplate kind of contract thing. No, it's just you dictating whatever you want to dictate, whatever you want to bring. And however you elaborate on that in your writing or your thoughts, it's going to manifest it. It's an awesome time.
okay, Jerry, now let's go. Let's just touch on journaling 101. My first day of journaling. Give me some tips on what I should try and get on that piece of paper, and how
How
should.
lucky you are. No, no, just
Okay.
how lucky you are to be alive.
Yes.
And that gratitude mindset. Well, before you start asking for things, man, remember that you're a thing, and you got to be grateful for who you are in so many ways. And this is just like I said, it's my opinion. Gratitude, is everything. Living in the mind of the attitude of gratitude really changed a lot because I got rid of the things in life I was angry at. Man, I started wait a minute, meatball, you got to focus on yourself. You're a good person. Now be
Right.
grateful for that good person. Take care of that person because if the body's not working right, your mind is not going to work right. So you got to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. What starts that? Gratitude. It's so simple. It's in every inspirational friggin' video out there. And if you need something to jack you along, put a set of buds in, maybe some music, whatever really gets you in the mood, and just be grateful. And grateful for who you are, and let that manifest into your wants and your desires. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. A lot of
Put
people,
you in a better mood. You
well,
know what I mean?
bitterness, anger, or toxins that your body just can't tolerate.
No,
It affects
the
your
body isn't
health.
made. Body isn't made for stress. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
You
And
know,
it is a mental toxin before it's a physical toxin. The mental is what starts the physical. And when I realized I was my own ticking time bomb, with my thoughts, because that creates the chemicals that creates the feeling in the body. I said, wait, meatball, you better wake up. You better get rid of this anger and this sadness and this resentment because I was going through the big old divorce and losing everything. And from a man's perspective, not a woman, this is a man's perspective. No offense to the ladies out there, but for a man who can't provide for his own children, because he has nothing to give them, the sense of failure. I mean, it was the perfect time for me to delve into where I wanted to go. And it all manifested because you started that process of you have to rebuild the house before you can live in it again. You got to rebuild the foundation, which is most important. And people forget the foundation that we're brought up in. You can change that with journaling and however way you do it. But that foundation is your beliefs and your thoughts about yourself. If you think you're a meatball all the time, you're going to create meatballs, man. If you think you're great, you're going to create great things. If you think you're a failure, you're going to be a failure. Does that make sense?
well, yeah, but why can't I be a meatball and be a great meatball? I mean, why can't I
I,
aspire
I
to be the
knew
best meatball that I can
I
be?
knew you're going to rebut me on that. I knew this is not. Oh my god! But no, you get it. You get it. It's a conscious training of rethinking, which is most important part of journaling about yourself. And when you start feeling good about yourself and whatever you do, I've had bad days, man. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, rainbows and unicorns. No, we all have bad days, and I'm still. But the thing is, if you recognize, which is most important, what irks you and what gets you in this bad state of mind, you start creating ways around it. And it's that finding of self that you can become a better self. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, Jerry. I totally agree with you. The better we understand ourselves, the better chance we have.
Yes, yes, and this is not about telling anybody you have to do something. People have this amazing choice, man. Wake up free will. You do it with your to-do list and however way you do it. I do it with journaling and writing. It's really changed a lot for me in my life. But it's only me. I tried everything else said because everybody else said do that, and no, it didn't fit me. What fit me was expressing myself via pen to paper every day. And it's really manifested in a lot of ways, but everybody has their own way, as I reiterate again and again and again about the same thing, just to make people realize you don't have to do it. If you want to, absolutely. If it works out, great, awesome. If you meditate, that's great. Whatever it takes for you to get out of that bitterness of what has happened in the past, so you want to create a better future and plan something extraordinary that we all deserve.
Absolutely. 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 Well, you just about have me speechless now, Jerry. And I want everybody to understand we're going to give you a link to Jerry's book on journaling. And I'm sure, how many journaling disciples do you have out there?
A couple thousand.
Couple thousand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I said, journaling was a Victorian age that I love so much in their writings. You know what I mean? But from today's standpoint, I'm trying to get my words correctly here. From today's standpoint, the obstacles are all over the place, man. I'm not going to do that Napoleon thing again. Don't worry, I
Oh,
promise
good,
you.
good.
But the
Boy, you
the
did
ob-
bring up
the
Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey. He brought
yeah.
up Jim Carrey. Jim
Oh,
Carrey is
yeah, he's
he's nuts. I mean, the guy is totally whacked out nuts. He gave Andy
he's
Kaufman a run for his money. That's why he was in the movie.
he has more personalities. But I tell you right now, he gives some of the most amazing speeches. I don't know where he gets his information from, but he gives the most amazing speeches, and it really changed me in a lot of ways. I'm not going to grow the beard, man. I'm not into that kind of sainthood kind of thing. No, I'm all good with that. But
Okay.
point being is, whatever makes people feel good, do it. If it feels natural, do it. Journaling to me is natural. It's a natural part of my life because I've conditioned myself what I wanted to do, and whatever it takes for somebody, it'll take for them. Journaling for me has changed my life in so many ways, and I brought so many wonderful, wonderful experiences to me that way. That's what I wanted to do. And when people really start to figure out what they want to do, they start creating thoughts with that. And that's the beauty of journaling. The more you write it, the more you think it, the more you become it. Get it?
Well, I do.
Done.
It becomes part of your toolkit, and
Eh, Thank you. Again, you got that toolkit indeed. You- And men got toolkits, man. We got these toolkits. How about a mental toolkit of life? Justin, you're awesome. You're like a triggering in my mental background here, man. You're always kicking in all the good stuff for me. I love it. I love it.
well, you have to realize, Jerry, I grew up, and my idol and the person I aspired to be was Dr. Seuss. And now the kids of today are not afforded the luxury of Dr. Seuss teaching them how to think and become wordsmiths.
Simple rudiments of reading are gone. And I'm sorry, I hate to say that. But you go to a library, it's empty. There's got nobody there, man. They're all gone now. I'm surprised they're even still open. But if people can get back into that, I mean, I think Horace Mann said a house without a library is like a room without windows. They have nowhere to go with their thoughts. And the kids now, they think they can get it via visual, but no, they lost that train of thought of creativeness. And hopefully, people like you and I with programs like this let people know there's more to the world than what they have now. But they have to go in and get it, man. They got to let it come out in thought and creativeness and emotion every single day. And the world's going to manifest around that.
And Jerry, my final thought, and then I'll let you have one. You don't have to be a meatball to journal.
No, no, you're not going to be a meatball journal. You're not going to follow the hashtag meatball crowd here. But at the same time, whatever makes you feel good, the only thing I recommend everybody do is try it. Try one morning and just write how grateful you are to be where you are now. And the fact of the matter is, no matter what you're going through, you're going to get through it. And if you have that kind of mentality, that attitude, like I post my quotes every day, you're gonna find a way, man. This is what journaling does. It sets the foundation of your thoughts in a direction where you want to go because you get deep. And a few of us go down deep, man. They got that the kind of subconscious burial ground back there that we keep reopening every single day. But go deep into your soul. Ask what you truly desire. You're gonna find answers.
Okay. All right. Jerry, thank you. Hey, everybody. This has been Justin Case and Jerry Maldonado bringing you American Mentoring. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links are provided in this video's read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please check out Jerry's social media and consider doing some journaling.